Hi guys, Christy from Worldschool Chronicles. Today I'm going to talk about the cost of full-time travel. So a lot of people have told me that they can't do this because they don't have enough money and they won't be able to afford it. So I'm gonna talk about our cost of living before we hit the road. We used to live in a major city in a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom with a basement condo, and I ran a home daycare at the time. I had anywhere from, with my 4 kids, I had anywhere from 6 to 9 kids in my care. I ran 24-hour care, so I was always full and I was always busy. So in that townhome, my rent was $1,300 a month plus utilities, and I paid about $300 a month for utilities. My van that I had I had bought it outright, so I only had to pay insurance. That was about $200 a month. The fuel for the van was about $150 a month because we went on field trips and the kids were in marching bands, so I had to drive them back and forth, things like that. Our food was about $500–600 a month, and that was with a lot of being frugal and that kind of thing. Internet and cable were about $100 a month together. Renter's insurance was $50 a month. So in general, I needed almost $3,000 a month to live on, and I was really struggling to do that. So I was doing day home, and I was trying to be as frugal as possible, and I was doing photography on the side as well, and that enabled me to live that life, but I wasn't very happy. So then we hit the road. And I'll give you an example of last year. Last year we lived in the Dominican. I'll give you an example of last year and this year. Last year we lived in the Dominican Republic, in a small village with about 200 people. So we lived in this little tiny village, and I had a 4-bedroom house with 1 bathroom. I didn't have power all the time, but we didn't really care because it was in the tropics. It was nice. So we had power from about 7 p.m. till about, 7 p.m. till about 8 a.m., give or take. Sometimes it went out, sometimes it didn't. It was okay. I had to pay to put in a tank on the roof and a pump so that we had water all the time. Otherwise I had to haul water from a cistern into a big drum in my bathroom, and we had to do bucket baths, and I wasn't really fond of that. So I paid about $200 to get that hooked up, but then I had it for the rest of the year. So with that, for my 4-bedroom house and 1-bathroom house in a small village, I paid $100 a month, Canadian. And then power and internet were about $50, and my phone was $30. I just brought a unlocked cheap cell phone from Walmart, and I put a chip in, and I just bought minutes as I needed them. And for internet, we had a inverter so that when the power did go out, it ran off of the battery. And the only thing plugged into the inverter was the internet box, so I could still use my Wi-Fi on my phone and still be able to, message my friends and post on Instagram and social media and that kind of thing. And transport was about $25. We took all public cars, public buses, public motor taxis. And so I had a couple of moto taxis in our village that were on my phone, and I would just call them. And then I've got a couple of moto taxis in the major city, Puerto Plata, because we lived there before as well, and I would just call them when I got there, and they'd pick me up, and I pay them a little bit. Food was about $300. We eat like locals, and we don't eat out a lot, and if we do, it's cheap little food carts. And then I always put away $200 a month for travel because we slow travel and we're in one place for 6 to 12 months. That allows me to save up enough money for airfare tickets for our next destination. So all of that, last year I lived on $600 Canadian a month. It was tight, but it was doable. we were able to live on $600. I didn't get to put as much away for savings, which meant that we stayed a little bit longer, but it worked. And we weren't near the beach, but it was easy enough to hop on a guagua, which is like a little van, and pay 25 pesos and go to the beach, you know, and spend the day at the beach. So it really isn't that expensive. And then this year, last March, we came to Canada to be there while my sister had her home birth and help her out. And we've been here ever since, because I spent 5 years of not adulting, and now I need to do some adulting. So I need to renew my driver's license, renew passports, get a new consent letter for my son to travel, and a couple of things like that. I want to change my name and things like that. So that's taking a bit of time. And we're also exploring Canada because my kids haven't really stayed here that much. So this year, I haven't paid rent because I've either been staying with friends and family, or we've been doing work away or house sitting or things like that. Last summer I was doing a live-in nanny job where I got my accommodation provided, and then I got a little bit of pay on top of it, so that was helping. And so now I just pay for internet and cell phone. I got a phone through Kudo, so I'm paying that, and it's not bad. It's really not bad. Food here's a whole lot more expensive, and so I've been, you know, trying to find ways to minimize food and things like that. And last summer we were in Edmonton, so a friend of mine, a really good friend of mine, she's got friends who get disability credit or whatever, and with that they get a bus pass, but they don't use it. So we were buying a bus pass off of them for $30. That's regularly $90, and we were able to use the bus whenever we wanted for a much cheaper price. We also utilized all the free festivals, all the free pools and splash pads and all of that kind of stuff for our kids. And we would go and spend the day and come back, and we would always there's a fruit and vegetable place there that's quite cheap, so we would go stock up on fruit and vegetables, and we would just bring fruit and veg for the snacks for the day, and stop at the dollar store and grab a couple of bottles of water and maybe some granola bars, and we were ready to go. So it hasn't been that expensive, and just about everywhere we go, I try and find the cheapest way to do things. And so, like for example, when I'm in the Dominican Republic, which was where we were last year, instead of going to the supermarket where it's quite expensive because it's meant for foreigners, I go to what's called the Almacen, and it's the store that stocks the little stores in the towns and villages. And so you can find everything that they sell one by one, because they'll sell like little packets of tomato paste, or little packets of bleach or laundry soap or whatever. So I can get the whole box of the little packets for much cheaper than just one little packet. And so that's what I do. And I buy what I need for the month minus all the fresh stuff. And then in the Dominican Republic, so I allotted 150 pesos a day, and so 50 pesos of that was for the kids to get a treat or whatever, because we go for a walk every day and they want a 5 peso bag of chips, or they want a little juice or something. And so that was okay. And then the truck comes by every day with fruit and veg, fresh fruit and veg, comes by with eggs, it comes by with bleach, it comes by with milk, everything. And so the rest of that was for my fresh fruit and veg, and maybe eggs once a week when they came by, things like that. And so yeah, it's significantly cheaper for me to live outside of Canada than it is for me to live inside of Canada. Or let me rephrase that. It's significantly cheaper for me to live non-conventionally than it is for me to live conventionally with a house and a mortgage and or rent and a car and insurance and house insurance and activities for the kids and all of that kind of stuff, because even when we're in other countries, a lot of those activities for the kids are either free or quite cheap. My daughter did a theater class in the Dominican Republic when we were there the first time with her, and it was $20 for a month for this theater class. Well, in where I'm from in Canada, that same theater class would be $100 a month, and or it would be $300 for the whole year, whereas this was significantly cheaper. And so for me, it's cheaper to live on the road non-conventionally than it is for me to live a conventional lifestyle like I did 7 or 8 years ago. And now that we've been doing it so long, I don't even think about, that's not even something that comes into my mind is, oh, I need to rent a house. Oh, I need a car. Oh, I need all these things, I don't even think about that. Oh, I need a landline. Oh, I need 24-hour power. Oh, it doesn't even cross my mind anymore. So I just wanted to explain that it can be cheaper to live a non-conventional life than the conventional life. So when you're thinking about world schooling and you're thinking about how much money you're going to need to travel and to live this lifestyle, remember that it can be a lot cheaper than where you are now. So if you're living right now and you need, let's say, $6,000 a month to make your house and home and family work, with $6,000 a month on the road, I could live a really luxurious life. So know that it's not going to be as much as what you're paying now. And just take the chance to give it a try. Even if you only went for a month or two, you would get an idea of what it can be like. And it will take you a couple of weeks to a month to adjust and to figure out the cheapest way to do things. But once you got it figured out, you're set. So that was the cost of living on the real cost of full-time travel while you're world schooling. And I'm going to bring more topics in future vlogs. So thanks again.